Here are the bold and the beautiful spoilers for Monday, December 22, 2025. On Friday's all-new episode, Hope's work environment became a lot more complicated, with the newly married face of Hope for the future backed into a corner. Steffi revealed to her bitter rival-turned-frenemy that her brother's services would no longer be needed at Forrester. As Thomas had decided to return to her life. Deke is fresh out of design school, and despite his potential, he has a lot to learn. Following recent PR nightmares, like the Luna debacle, Forrester needs a guarantee. Thomas is that guarantee. Nobody knows the line more intimately. Monday's episode will dive deeper into the matter as emotions run high when Hope is forced to fire Deke. There's a lot of complicated history between Hope and Thomas, so the idea of her brother being replaced in favor of Steffi's brother, her ex, is going to make Hope's life a lot more stressful. Hope just recommitted herself to Liam, and the pair tied the knot. One of the most significant factors in their last divorce was her closeness with Thomas and her inability to keep him at an arm's length. Now she and her new husband are forced to welcome the stressor back into their orbit, in a way that keeps Hope and Thomas close. Things could devolve even further on Monday's episode when Thomas asks for time alone with Hope. It's one thing to insert himself back into the mix of Hope for the future. However, it's an entirely different thing to spend time together one-on-one, immediately following her wedding to a man who absolutely loathes everything about Thomas. There's a fine line between love and hate, and Hope has walked this road before. If she wants to keep things steady with Liam, she will need to hold her ground. Although there's always the chance that time alone with her former flame is precisely what she wants and desires. Elsewhere on Monday's new episode, Bill and Liam think about all of the challenges they have been through and feel like they are forces to be reckoned with. It feels like an ego trip for the Spencers, but it's hard to argue with their self-assessments. Both men are riding high after reuniting with the loves of their lives and quickly rushing to the altar, making the unions permanent in the eyes of the law. Liam nearly lost his life, but ultimately, the near-death experience gave him renewed clarity, which led him straight to Hope. Bill, on the other hand, has a slower burn with Katie. They were thrust back into each other's inner circle on a more frequent basis because Luna tormented Will. The deceased serial murderer trapped Will with an unintended pregnancy after a diabolical sexual assault. Bill and Katie's shared worry for their son drifted them closer and closer until they acknowledged they were stronger together than apart. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers update for the week of December 22-26 reveals that Hayes Finnegan and Kelly Spencer will get a surprise after Bill Spencer and Ridge Forrester have a showdown. Will Spencer will also make an offer, so there'll be some exciting things to look forward to. Now that Deke Sharp knows he no longer has a future at Forrester Creations, it seems he'll turn to Deacon Sharp for comfort. Remy Price will appear, and most likely see that Deke's down in the dumps, so he may pump him for info and learn his fashion designer dreams have been dashed at Forrester. That could give Remy a chance to offer a pep talk and pull Deke in the direction of getting back together. As for Thomas Forrester, he'll do his best to get Hope Logan Spencer to come around to his way of thinking. Thomas will be convinced they can be a good team just like they were before, and push her to trust him with her line again. At Spencer Publications, Katie Spencer will throw herself into plenty of fashion house prep work. After Katie creates a presentation and chooses a name for her brand, Ridge and Brooke Logan Forrester will get updates. Despite Brooke's efforts to play the role of a supportive sister, she'll grow increasingly agitated over Katie's plans. Brooke may ultimately try to convince Katie that she's destined to fail, but Bill will refuse to let that happen. Bill and Ridge are going to clash over his rival fashion house drama, so this will give them another excuse to loathe each other and throw insults. Before the holiday gathering gets underway, John Finnegan will steal a kiss from Steffi Forrester Finnegan under the mistletoe. Carter Walton and Daphne Rose will have the same idea once they have their own mistletoe scene. Ridge will also knock Brooke's socks off with an incredible present before Eric Forrester and Donna Logan pull off a surprise for Kelly and Hayes. Eric will play Santa and come bearing gifts as Donna plays Mrs. Claus, so there'll be some adorable moments before the annual Christmas song gets belted out. The show will re-air a B&B holiday throwback on December 25th, but December 26th will bring a new episode and fresh story developments. At some point, Will's going to invite Dylan to stay the night at his beach house, so Electra Forrester will quickly pipe up to support that plan. The bold and the beautiful spoilers suggest Dylan's interest in Electra and Will could become an obsession if she's not careful, so stay tuned for any unsettling news to come. Every week on The Bold and the Beautiful, a few performances rise above the rest. Not because the characters are the most popular, but because something extra jumps off of the screen. Sometimes it is a subtle facial reaction that says more than the dialogue. Other times, it is a heated confrontation or a quiet emotional beat that lingers after the scene ends. Only one performance is usually singled out as Performer of the Week, but this award distribution is more about the characters themselves. The reality is that B&B regularly features multiple standouts within the same stretch of episodes. Katie had one of the most monumental weeks of her life, so it was an easy placement for the top spot of the first medal distribution. She started the week celebrating her niece's wedding, but she was quickly swept into her own fairy tale when Bill not only proposed to her, but also surprised her with an impromptu wedding. If landing the man of her dreams wasn't a special enough moment, her life changed even further as the week went on. Bill surprised Katie with her own fashion house, a decision that gave her enough confidence to walk away from Forrester Creations. Tired of the disrespect, Katie informed Brooke that she'd been taking her skill sets elsewhere and starting her own brand from the ground up. Katie chose herself this week, and that level of empowerment landed her the top honors. He has taken incredible steps toward becoming a better version of himself, and this week was a shining example. Taking Bill's grand romantic gestures, like the proposal, the surprise wedding, or even the fashion house, out of the equation for a second, he still found ways to prove himself this week. The moment Katie returned the sword necklace to him, and he second-guessed the idea of putting it back around his neck, it showed how much he wanted to commit to his new life as a better version of himself. However, it's Bill's relentless desire to show his new bride her own self-worth that helped him rise to the top. At every turn, Bill reminded Katie how much she was valued and respected, and pointed out how Forrester Creations mistreated her and consistently overlooked her many talents. He was everything that anyone could ever want in a supportive partner, and hopefully, the pattern continues. Most of Hope's week was spent trying to grasp onto any semblance of control involving her line. Decisions were made without her input or consultation, and she was forced to accept that, even at the cost of crushing her brother's dreams. She was repeatedly placed in a position where Steffi and Ridge required her to deal with the consequences of their own, arguably selfish actions. The most challenging moment of the week came when she was forced to fire Deke, and although it was excruciating, she showed restraint and self-awareness as she delivered the news. On Friday's episode, Hope went to bat for her brother, even if the outcome was not the one that either would have liked. Seeing Hope risk it all, standing up to Steffi, and drawing a line in the sand when it came to Thomas was a pivotal factor in securing a spot in the top 3 characters of the week. Hope needs to have a voice and use it, because if she doesn't, she's going to get stepped on at every turn. Steffi and Ridge fired Deke, but left Hope to do the dirty work. On Friday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, Steffi shocked fans by firing Deke. She agreed that it was time for Thomas to return as lead designer of Hope for the Future, but she left Hope to break the news to her brother. Thomas returned to Forrester Creations on Thursday's episode. Zenda surprised Steffi with a visit from her brother, where he stated his case. Thomas wanted to return as the lead designer of Hope for the Future. Steffi informed them that Deke was working on the line, and he was talented. However, none of his designs have gone into production. She listened to Thomas and Zendi's pitch for Hope for the Future. She agreed that it needed a strong reboot, as it had struggled in the past. The only reason it was successful was that Thomas was at the helm. Ridge walked into their conversation and listened to their pitch as well. The father-daughter duo agreed, without consulting Hope, that Thomas should be the lead designer. Ultimately, they fired Deke without his knowing. Additionally, Steffi asked Hope to inform her brother that he had been fired. She left Hope to do the dirty work, which angered B&B fans. On one soap opera message board, viewers reacted to Deke's surprising firing. Did B&B newbie Deke get a raw deal with Forrester Creations? The original poster called Steffi and Ridge a pack of cowards. That same person continued writing. So it was Ridge Steffi who decides to make a decision for Hope's line without even a word to her and let Thomas come back to design for her because he wants back in and decides to fire her brother and doesn't even have the guts to tell him. One person argued, LOL, how are they cowards? They run the company, they make the decisions. If the Logans don't like it, they can hit the bricks. Someone else wrote, Hope hired Deke without permission from Ridge or Steffi, so it's on Hope to fire him. Arguably, Ridge hired Deke, who submitted his portfolio anonymously. He wanted to be hired based on his talent and merit. He didn't want to be hired just because he's related to Hope. Meanwhile, other viewers wondered if Hope had any say in her line. She received the same treatment as Katie, who is struggling to get her voice heard. Another fan pondered, is Hope the manager of her line or not? Should she want an experienced design team for her line? Or someone she calls herself Green, none of which designs she has seen to fit pass for production? Some fans argued that the line is under the Forrester Creations brand, which means the Forresters can do whatever they want. Yet other fans see a good thing coming out of this storyline, especially now that Katie has her own fashion house. Heartbreak and reflection take center stage on B&B, as Eric struggles with what he's leaving behind at Forrester Creations, while Donna gently urges him to find comfort in celebrating the holidays. The Bold and the Beautiful's must-watch moments for Tuesday, December 23rd, include Donna talking Eric into celebrating the holidays as Eric gets emotional about all he's leaving behind as he packs up his Forrester Creations office. It's going to be a day filled with deep emotions and heartache in Los Angeles. Eric enjoyed designing again. He created some gorgeous looks and was ready to share them with the world. Unfortunately, without even asking Eric, Ridge decided it was time for his father to retire. After all, Eric needed to think about his health. Eric tried to talk Ridge out of it, but Ridge insisted. Steffi saw her grandfather's new designs, and she obviously felt conflicted about his forced retirement. As for Donna, she certainly wanted her husband to be happy. However, she also wasn't overly sad about the possibility of having some time to travel and enjoy their lives together. Katie's news shocked Brooke, which also suggested that she could end up green with envy. On The Bold and the Beautiful, December 19th. Katie shocked Brooke with her incredible news. Brooke offered her support, however, we could see her getting jealous. On Friday's episode, Katie talked about her new fashion company with Bill and Will. She hinted that it wouldn't be easy to tell Brooke. Bill told her not to worry about them. She needs to put herself first for a change. Katie agreed and said the Logans typically lift each other up, and Brooke would be happy for her. Katie left to tell Brooke the surprising news. At Forrester, Katie ran into Brooke at the runway. She told her about Bill's extravagant wedding gift, her very own fashion house. Brooke's jaw dropped open. Brooke thought it sounded ridiculous. It took Forrester Creations years to get running, but Katie said she's ready to take on this challenge because Bill believes in her. Katie also told Brooke that she wanted to share the news with her first. Katie said she's ready to take on this new project, yet Brooke looked uncertain during that scene. She wondered what it would be called. Spencer Fashions? Katie wants Brooke's help with naming it. Then she told her sister that she needed to take on this incredible opportunity. Brooke said she was happy for Katie, but she was also sad. This will be hard on her, as well as Katie's son, Will. Brooke hugged Katie and insisted that she was happy for her, but her face showed a strained expression. Now, she's going to have to share the news with Ridge, who will explode. We all know how Ridge will feel. He's going to think that Bill is taking advantage of him and his family by starting a new fashion company. He's going to chide his enemy and wonder what he even knows about fashion. Meanwhile, Brooke could secretly harbor jealousy toward Katie's success. Her sister is getting something she's never gotten and will never get. She'll never get to own Forrester Creations. Sure, Brooke was a CEO at one point, but it didn't last. Will Brooke want to jump ship and join Katie at Spencer Publications? Or will she seethe from the sidelines? The Bold and the Beautiful. Spoilers hint that Will Spencer, Electra Forrester, and Dylan might be gearing up for a threesome. Will the teacher's overnight stay turn sizzling? B&B released a preview video for the week of December 22-26 that features Dylan, Will, and Electra all hanging out together. It's clear that Electra and Will have been making an effort to help Dylan move on from the trauma of hitting Luna Nozawa with her car. Based on the new promo, that plan seems to be going well. Electra, Will, and Dylan all have swimsuits on, so it looks like they've been enjoying a day at the beach. However, the fun won't stop there, since the preview also shows Will suggesting Dylan should stay the night. Dylan seems taken aback, yet hopeful as she asks, "Really?" Electra then insists she'd love to spend more time with Dylan, who seems excited and a bit bewildered, like she's trying to take in what all this means. Dylan is forming a close connection with Electra and Will. But where is this storyline headed? It's possible Dylan is replacing Luna as the show's newest stalker, but haven't we seen enough of that kind of story by now? Dylan hasn't shown any signs of being unhinged yet, so maybe something else is going on. Since both Will and Electra enjoy Dylan's company, we have to wonder just how much they like her. Do Electra and Will have a little hot-for-teacher thing going on? It's weird that B&B's having Will and Electra invite Dylan to spend the night, so it could be a setup for a threesome. What if Dylan, Will, and Electra all end up hitting the sheets at the same time? No one can rule it out under the circumstances since this overnight invitation is so strange. Dylan might be interested in taking her friendship with Electra and Will to a sizzling level, so we'll bring you updates on any threesome news that might be in the works. The Bold and the Beautiful. Spoilers say Dylan's overnight stay will surely come with a shocker or two no matter what. The holidays bring tough choices and tender moments on The Bold and the Beautiful. Hope faces an emotional decision. Romance blooms under the mistletoe. And Katie struggles to wrap her head around a stunning new chapter. The weekly The Bold and the Beautiful must-watch moments for December 22nd, 26. Tease that Hope faces a conundrum when she's forced to fire Deke and when Thomas asks for alone time with her. Plus, Carter and Daphne enjoy a kiss under the mistletoe, and Katie is in disbelief over her new fashion house. It's going to be a Christmas to remember in Los Angeles. Tune in to CBS or Paramount Plus next week to catch all the dramatic moments. Please note, B&B will air a rerun on Christmas Day, Monday, December 2025, 9678. Emotions run high when Hope is forced to fire Deke. Bill and Liam think about all the challenges they have been through and feel like they are forces to be reckoned with. Thomas asks for time alone with Hope. Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, number 96, 7, and 9. Donna talks Eric into celebrating the holidays. Eric goes to the office and gets emotional about all the history he is leaving behind. Wednesday, December 24th, 2025, 9680. Ridge gives Brooke a special Christmas present. Carter and Daphne kiss under the mistletoe. The Forrester family celebrates the holidays in Forrester family tradition. Friday, December 26th, 2025, 9681. Katie is in disbelief that she has her own fashion house. Will, Saj, Electra, Steffi, Finn, and Dylan all toast to the holidays at Will's beach house. Donna attempts to ease tension between Brooke and Katie. This week's B&B will have Katie once again leaving Brooke stunned, while Thomas makes a plea to Hope. December 22nd, 26 will be filled with many surprises and decisions on The Bold and the Beautiful. This week's video hints that one character's business decision stuns other, while one couple might have added trouble to their relationship. Here's a sneak peek of what's ahead. Last week, Katie revealed her plans for a fashion house to Brooke. Although Brooke was stunned, she supported her sister's new endeavor. Brooke doesn't waste any time in telling Ridge, who'll be shocked and perhaps a bit angry. The couple decides to scope out their competition when they pay a visit to Katie and Bill. Katie will have much explaining to do as Brooke and Ridge ask questions about her fashion house. When Katie unveils the name of her fashion house, it leaves Brooke stunned. It's unclear if Brooke is pleased or unhappy with the name, but one thing is for certain. Katie's fashion house will not only spark a Forrester Creations war, but also a potential rivalry with her sister. Hope had to deliver the heartbreaking news to her brother Deke that he was fired from FC. With Deke gone, Hope for the Future will now have Thomas as its lead designer. It's a decision Hope is uncomfortable with, but she might end up changing her mind. Hope and Thomas finally meet after his latest return. When Hope expresses hesitation about working together, Thomas is quick to remind her about their previous collaborations. Thomas says he still thinks about those times of them creating together, and he wants to bring that back. Thomas D's speech leaves Hope intrigued, and she might reconsider her stance on them working together. While there's no doubt Thope will make HFTF a success, one has to question if Thomas has an ulterior motive. Does he really care about the fashion line, or is he using it as a way to reunite with Hope? Electra is keeping her promise to look after Dylan. The preschool teacher is still traumatized after accidentally running over Luna. Electra decides to take Dylan's mind off the incident with a day at the beach. Electra and Will invite Dylan to hang out at the beach house. The trio are having a fun and relaxing day and soon lose track of time. Instead of going home, Will suggests that Dylan spend the night. Dylan is surprised and asks if they're sure it's okay. Electra says she'd love for Dylan to stay so they can spend more time together. But will it be an idea that Electra and Will regret? Speculation is that Dylan has a dark side, and Will's invitation could unleash her inner bad girl. What's supposed to be a fun evening at the beach house could turn into a nightmare for Will and Electra.